What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Quick 60. I went over the NFC North predictions in my prior videos, and now I'm going to hit on the AFC North, starting with the Pittsburgh Steelers today. So the Steelers started off 11-0 last year before finishing up the season 12-4 and losing to the Cleveland Browns in the first round of the playoffs. So the Steelers averaged around 30 points per game when they were 11-0, and that 1-4 stretch, they averaged around 19 points per game after they lost to that Monday Night Football game to the Redskins, and some blaring issues started opening up. Roethlisberger is really old, and his arm strength is starting to deteriorate. After 12 games into the season, that takes a toll on a quarterback, takes a toll on every player, and so he couldn't push the ball down the field. They were throwing a lot of screens, a lot of dump offs to the running backs, and their offensive line had a lot of issues. They didn't have a running game at all whatsoever. I think in that Cleveland Browns playoff loss, he threw the ball 68 times, something like that, something crazy like that. So, there were some glaring holes last year going into the last 4 or 5 games of the season. So some key additions were Miles Kennebrew, Trey Turner, which that's what they hope to shore up the offensive line with. And then they also added Balish is going to be a backup running back for them. So they drafted in the first round Najee Harris from Alabama, and then Kendrick Green as well, another offensive lineman. So they're trying to shore up that running game. Hopefully they didn't have a running game at all last season. So hopefully Harris is the guy to do that. But they also lost 4 offensive linemen, starters for them this past season going into next year. So, they did add Trey Turner, but how much help can he do? They still have to fill 3 other holes on the offensive line, especially after they cut DeCastro. So they lost James Conner, they lost Villanueva, they lost Vance McDonald, DeCastro, Pouncey, Matt Feeler, he's also offensive lineman. Another key loss that they had was Mike Hilton, Steven Nelson, and Bud Dupree on the defensive side. You can't stress enough how important Bud Dupree was to TJ Watt, because he alleviated some of that pressure put on TJ when he was playing in the game. So some key defensive players that they're going to have this year, obviously TJ Watt. They still have Casey Hayward and Tuitt back. They're going to have to fill that hole where Bud Dupree was, though. The linebacker core is going to be a little weakness on the outside linebacker side. They're getting back Devin Bush. He was out after around 6 weeks, and so that would be nice to have a guy flying around in the inside linebacker position for them that they drafted in the first round. See how he does. And they also have Minkah Fitzpatrick patrolling the secondary. So they're not going to have very, very good corners this year, but if they get a pass rush on quarterbacks, then the corners might not have to cover too long. So I like Mike Tomlin as a coach. I think he gets the most out of his players. However, with Roethlisberger aging, no arm strength, and losing 4 key offensive linemen, I don't think that's going to help Harris with the running game. I don't think they can pass that well. The receivers have drop issues. So they're going to have to get back to how they won the Super Bowl, running the ball with Jerome Bettis, playing great defense. However, I just don't know if they're going to be able to run the ball like they did with Roethlisberger when they won the Super Bowl back in the day. So in the competitive AFC North, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers going 7-10 this year, the first losing season, I believe, since 2003. So that's my bold prediction for the AFC North. They finished the season with the Ravens, Titans, Chiefs, Browns, and Ravens again, I believe. And so that's a brutal schedule at the end of the season. So if things trend like they did last year with Roethlisberger, getting more fatigued to have an extra regular season game this year, that's not going to bode well for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's a quick 60, guys. I hope you like my prediction on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Until next time, peace.